What's up, guys? It's Drew Dillon from Project Lift. I'm a weightlifting coach who's had experience with an Olympian and a world team member, and today we're going to talk about how to set up your best training session. And really, we're going to cover three main points. We're going to look at our preparation before the gym, we're going to look at our activation, and we're also going to look at the component of time. So guys, let's dig into this, but before we do, if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe because there's more videos coming, but ultimately guys, pay it forward, share it with someone you know it could help too. All right guys, let's talk about prep for the gym before we ever get there. And really what it comes down to is making sure we have everything that we need for our sessions. Now, as I go through all of this, guys, I want to put one caveat in there, and that is to really understand, to make this individual to you. So I can share ideas, other athletes can share ideas, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what works for you. And that is on you, your responsibility to test, ask questions, and figure it out. So back into that, what could be things that we need for the gym? Now, let's look inside the gym bag. Right? Do you utilize wraps for your wrist? Do you utilize knee sleeves? Often your shoes, weightlifting shoes. Some athletes like switching out socks, longer socks, whatever it is, right? Supplements, do you use a pre-workout? Personally, not a big fan, but we can get into that in a different video. We can look at supplements outside of pre-workout. There's, we can go deeper into that. And anything, any equipment. So you look around, maybe you have a special mobility device that you purchased that really helps you. Make sure you have all this with you. And that seems like common sense, guys, but it amazes me here in Project Lift how often an athlete will come in and they're like, oh man, I forgot X. And guys, whether you realize it or not, very often that can set the tone for your day, okay? So having all your stuff in place and having it ready to go. All right, guys, so now when we talk about activation, what in the world is activation before a workout? So let's break it into two sections. One, it's reaching the positions we need. Right? So I'm saying that in a different way because mobility is such a broad term. There can be different forms of mobility that we use in there, but the ultimate goal is, can I reach the positions I'm about to use? If we're going to be doing snatches, right, and I'm really tight overhead, I need to do something to open up that T-spine, to open up that position overhead for me to utilize, right? Ankles, hips, getting all the way into the feet. So opening these things up, opening our body up so that we have access to them from a nervous system standpoint. And that takes me into number two, guys. Number two is priming our system, activating our nervous system to get that pathway, to get the explosion that we need. And there's different things that we can do here. I'm going to lay out what I used to use prior to every training session and still do, right? So you look at rhythm and timing, okay? So we're tuning in that rhythm and timing, that change of direction. How do we utilize that? We have a drill here at Project Lift called the pop-pop drill that we'll utilize. We can utilize different things like above the knee clean or snatch, depending on which exercise you're going into. We can look at 3-position snatch and clean. And these are all ways, whether we're using just the barbell or lightweight, our goal, our intention here is to tune the system, to prime that nervous system for the explosiveness and firing through the body that we're asking it for. So it starts with opening up our positions, and then it starts with activation is that next step. So what I used to do when I'd warm up is really, I had an issue with continually pulling with my fist, right? When I'd change direction under the bar. So muscle versions of the lift, snatch and clean, were great for me because all the way at the start, with the barbell, I was thinking about pulling continuously all the way through, right? Whereas what happens when we don't activate well is we'll get to a certain weight and then all of a sudden we realize, oh, I'm not pulling the way I need to, or insert whatever issue you have. And this brings back the concept of individualism, guys. This warm-up needs to be for you, and it needs to reflect what you're currently working on and what benefits you the most to tune in and remember. But we have two portions here. Get the positions and then activate that nervous system. All right, guys, and finally, I want to talk about time. And how I'm going to discuss time in this component is when we're getting ready for our session, right? So this, okay, we got our stuff set up to get to the gym, everything's in order that we need, right? Now, what is this time component? It comes down to allowing ourselves to have the time we need. So often we take training and try to cram it into a space, right? When we're activating, when we're getting in positions, when we're priming, when we're getting ready, guys, if you're going through your warm-ups and it just feels like junk, give yourself some more time at that lighter weight. Give yourself some more time at that drills. And I know it's so easy to look down the program and be like, man, I got to get to this working set and I got to put in that work and I have this coming up and I don't have that long. You are going to be better served by giving yourself time to tune in the nervous system, to tune in the pathway, right? If we had 80% for 5 reps, you would be better served only getting 3 of those reps, really good reps, than rushing through the activation, getting up there and them just being inconsistent and junk. So keep that in mind, guys. That's a very mature concept when it comes to training. And trust me, we all fall for it, all fall for it. So guys, give yourself time, give yourself permission to activate. But finally, guys, I want to add one thing in here, and it ultimately comes down to that individualism, finding what works for you. And number 2, guys, is starting to train the thought process that you can lift perfectly on imperfect days. And what I mean by that, guys, is say you forget your knee sleeves, say you forget your wrist reps, right? Say, that happens, right? Is it going to wreck your day? Or can you let it roll off your shoulders and just allow yourself to be present and give it what you have, right? Same thing, guys. Say you give it extra time during that warm up and man, it's just not feeling good. Can you give yourself the peace and the forgiveness to just let yourself increase in weight, see what you have that day. Maybe you have, a working set of whatever. Maybe that's not what's going to be today. For whatever reason, maybe it's some stress outside of the gym, whatever it is, right? Can you let yourself relax and let it be and train perfectly on imperfect days, guys? And often as you practice this, and when you see like, oh shoot, I forgot X, or man, this doesn't feel good, this is an opportunity to practice training on imperfect days, because if you're an athlete who's going into competition, I guarantee you're unable to control every facet of the environment around you. And if you have already trained that mindset of being able to train perfectly on imperfect days, you are going to be a much better competitor than the athlete who's the house of cards. One thing, oh my gosh, I forgot my wrist wraps, bomb out, or whatever, just junk lifts, right? So I hope that supports you guys. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.